Hey everybody, welcome to the March 26th edition of the MakerDAO community call that we do every Tuesday here at 12 Eastern Standard Time, and I got all the other times translated too, but I'll only mention the Eastern Standard Time. But yeah, welcome to the community call. This is a call where we go over all things Maker, basically just a overview of what happened in the last week. We highlight everything from events to partnerships, new hires in the organization itself, technical milestones, any notable events that are happening in the space. And we also take this call as a sort of opportunity to highlight some of our community members that have been doing really cool things. So if you are not familiar with Maker, we are largely around because of our community, and our community is literally what drives the project. So big kudos to a lot of the people who contribute content and contribute analysis and do the hard work of thinking through the stuff that the MakerDAO system needs thought through. So we like to highlight community members. We like to highlight a couple of great threads, and every now and then we also like to do a guest on the call. This week I had a guest lined up, but unfortunately they dropped out last minute. So I think they're going to be coming potentially next week, if not the week after. But hopefully we'll have some interesting people coming on the call soon. All right. So without further ado, let's kick it off with some real life events. So Lenka is usually the event hog around here. So Lenka, do you want to speak to some of the stuff that's going on earlier in the week this week, and then some of the stuff you have coming up?
Sure, of course. Hi, everyone. Well, greetings from Copenhagen office, but I just want to say that last week I was in Bratislava with Annette, who was organizing a meetup, and I talked about the part of serving the underserved. That was really fun. Well, then, actually, we have right now, Gusto is in Africa at the Global Money at the Remittance Conference. So if you're in Cape Town, please reach out to him. We also have, on Saturday in Copenhagen, we had screening as a part of a documentary festival, Copenhagen Docs here. We had a screening of a Trust Machine documentary. So I gave a little intro and my 5 cents. Why do I think it's exciting to work in the space? And hopefully I motivated some more people. What happened today? Today we had Lasse, who is our head of integration, speaking at a conference to PwC and their guests. This was also in Copenhagen. And we're not finished with Copenhagen because we have one more thing. We are trying to get together the local community and people who are passionate about blockchain or want to learn about it. We are organizing a town hall together with other organizers. And we will have a bunch of keynotes introducing blockchain tech, Web3. We will have a discussion about decentralization and how it affects society. We will have some introduction of the local community. So if you are in town, please join us. It's free meetup on Thursday evening. We'll have Bruno speaking there. And what else is happening? Søren, our head of product, will be going to Norway. There is a financial inclusion summit. It will be really definitely interesting. I think there's a opening speech by the Crown Prince of Norway, so it's kind of interesting too. Yes, what else we have coming up? Well, I would just say that we're planning one event in Berlin and one event in London, but those are not finalized. And also we are preparing for our attack on Cape Town during the Blockchain Week South Africa. That is in the week after. So that's all for me now.
Nice. The attack on Cape Town. I like it. Well, all right. Thank you. So for, just to put things into perspective around events, we love doing events because it gives us a chance to basically meet people in the crypto space and also in like the traditional finance space. So it's actually really, really wonderful that we have so many things, especially in Europe. But I'm definitely, I wish Mariano was on the call. I know he's always up to interesting things down in South America, but I think he's been traveling a lot lately or something. We'll see. We'll see. All right. So Do, who's our Korean community manager, he posts in our agenda beforehand because it's like 4 a.m. for him, so he can't always join these calls. But he is hosting a VIP networking event on April 3rd, and current confirmed participants include Binance, Hashed, Chain Partners, OSL, Genesis Block, Neo, Kyber Network, Storm, and others. So Do, as usual, killing it with the events in Korea. So that's really exciting. I think that's pretty much it for any of the major events. ETH Global in Cape Town is, I think, in early May, right? I don't know. Lenka, do you know about how involved we are with that?
Yeah, sure. Let me just turn on my camera. Okay, so ETH Cape Town is happening. It's a hackathon that is happening from the 19th until 21st. We will be sponsoring the hackathon, so we will have a bunch of us as a team on site to support the hackers, to do some workshops, presentations, mentoring, judging, etc. So we'll be there, but also we wanted to contribute more to the program of the Blockchain Week, and we have put forces together with other cool organization within the DeFi space, and we'll be organizing a DeFi larger meetup spanning throughout the whole afternoon the day before. So yeah, I could share the links, or David, do you
Nice.
share the
I mean,
agenda?
it's not urgent. I mean, yeah, it's going to be early May, so we could probably share it
Okay.
in like next week's meeting or something. I just
Anyone
wanted
who
to
is
get
booking
yeah.
flight tickets, please make sure to be there on the 18th as well, not to miss out.
And if you're really looking for a vacation, you can come on the 28th and catch Gustav speaking at the Global Money Transfer Summit, which is also in Cape Town.
Well, that is actually now.
I thought it was on the 28th. Yeah, in 2 days. Or it's Tuesday to Thursday.
Yes,
Is
it's
that what's going on?
actually today, tomorrow that the event is happening, and then he's gonna come again
I
for
see.
the East Cape Town.
So if you're looking for an extended trip to Cape Town, now's the time to go.
Yes.
But anyway, yeah. All right, cool. Thanks,
Okay.
Lenka.
And just one thing to add, with the focus of the DeFi event, we really wanted to, like not to just fly in a bunch of people who have no idea about the region. We really try to partner up with the local organizations and the local projects. We also want to give them platform to highlight their efforts, and also like open up discussions for what is actually relevant for the region. And from the DeFi principles, we chose the financial inclusion aspect. So we really hope that you guys find it relevant and interesting, this conversation that will be there. That's all from Alta.
Nice. Thanks, Lenka. All right, so for events, that's pretty much it. We're going to move on to the next section of the call, which is new hires, of which there are none this week. So no news there. And we have a couple partnerships. So we saw that Air Wallet integrated CDP, which is, I think, the first Korean project to do so. So kudos to Do. I'm pretty sure he's the one who put us in contact with them, or they found us through him, something like that. Dai was also added as a payment to Travala.com. So you could book hotels worldwide with Dai as a native payment on there. So that's really cool. So that's it for partnerships. We also had a couple of really notable things that happened in the Maker universe this week. So the spell has been cast or executed, right? The stability fee on ETH CDPs is now 7.5%. So for those of you guys that have been following along for the last about month and a half surrounding the governance deciding on what to do with the stability fee and the fact that Dai has been trading below the dollar target price, the last vote was a vote to raise the rate from 3.5% to 7.5%, which is 400 basis points. And the reason for this was because the peg hadn't been reacting to the smaller changes that occurred prior to this recent one. And so, this system is very new. It's only a year and a half old, and it's going through a completely untested market and trial period. So I'm really excited to see active governance happening. So definitely participate in those conversations if you are interested in that. I know we also opened up a subreddit, actually an ancient subreddit called r/mkrgov, MakerGov. All of the governance related conversations are happening over there. So definitely go read up, and if you have any good insights or opinions, let's talk. Besides that, we had Ashley Shapp on a podcast. I forgot the name of these guys. Blockchain Meditations podcast, and it's actually their first podcast. So they interviewed Ashley, and I actually managed to listen to it, and she did great at explaining where she thinks the space is going to go with regards to stable coins and us and everything. So shout out to Ash, who is one of our BD people. Really wonderful lady. All right, next we have also featuring me a whiteboard series that the guys from Near Protocol came out with. So the guys at Near do this video cast where they grab people from other projects, they stand in front of a whiteboard, and they just dissect the project, and they try to point out the weak spots and vulnerabilities, and they try to ask around the hard questions. And I really appreciate Alex and Ilya for inviting me on there. That was really fun. It actually happened during ETH Denver, so definitely check that out if you want to spend an hour watching me dissect the system. So that was fun. All right, let me just check the chat really quick before we move on. Yeah, and that posted the link to the podcast. Lenka posted the DeFi event happening on the 18th of April and the CapeTown.com thing. Oh yeah, cool. Thank you. All right, so that's pretty much it for any technical milestones, like super notable things, partnerships, and that kind of stuff. There are some highlights from the community now that I'd like to go over. Which, by the way, before I actually move on, I would love to just remind anybody on the call that there hold on one second, that there is definitely room, if you have a mic or a camera, definitely hop in if you guys have any questions or want to even bring anything up that I might have missed. I definitely sometimes miss things, so feel free to participate in this call. This is definitely a community call.
Oh yeah, I'd like to throw out something.
Hey, what's up, David? Yeah, sure.
Hey, David. So as some of you might know, I have a podcast with my Bitcoiner co-host Christian, and as if you guys have also been watching me on Twitter, I've been super frustrated with the lack of understanding with people and the role of the stability fee. So me and my co-host Christian did another Bitcoin versus MakerDAO episode, which will be dropping tonight. I'm actually super proud of it. I think it's one of our best episodes so far. And so stay tuned.
POV crypto for the win. Awesome,
Yeah.
man. Awesome. Really glad to hear it. Yeah, I've also been particularly frustrated at the lack of understanding, but it's all right because, this thing is complicated, and, some of the questions that people tend to bring up are valid, but I think that there's also very valid answers for the questions that they bring up. And I think that anybody who doesn't have either the patience to just kind of like step back and like really consider things on a fact objective sort of basis is going to get washed away in sort of the drama of the whole thing. So
yeah, absolutely.
I feel your frustration, man.
Yeah.
But there's very good reasons for why the rates are increasing, and it's really exciting to see active on-chain governance at work, which is really, really freaking cool. But anyway, yeah, cool. Glad you mentioned the podcast. Looking forward to listening to it. All right, so some highlights from the community. So Julian Hosp did an overview of MKR in a YouTube video. He also went over another cryptocurrency, but it was a pretty nice video. Vitalik Buterin mentions Maker at a conference. He talked about it briefly. Not at a conference, sorry, with an interview with the guys from Crypto Bytes. Yeah, the founder of Abra and him were talking about the problems of Ethereum, and Vitalik talked a bit about some of his favorite projects and basically dissected his views on some of the issues as well, I think. Yeah. So moving on. There's also something I saw on Twitter this week that was really cool. So there was a widget in a tweet where you could actually purchase Dai straight from your MetaMask wallet inside of Twitter. And I think it was called OX Instant. So the link is there in the agenda doc that I posted, which, by the way, for people coming in late, here's the agenda doc if you guys want links to all the stuff that we covered in this call this week. All right. So, yeah, you can instantly purchase Dai in a tweet with OX Instant. And this is really cool because if you think about what this enables, okay, so you can exchange Dai for something, right? But imagine being able to have like an alternative CDP portal in a Twitter widget, or a million other things. Imagine having Compound, or like pretty much anything. Like it's really cool that you could have these things in Twitter. The future is going to look very interesting, in my opinion. Let me just catch up on these comments really quick. John Cho writes, "Hi, I have a quick question. Might be going off tangent a bit, but could somebody explain it like on 5 how stablecoins maintain, well, try to, their value on centralized exchanges? Is it just down to the issuing authority, i.e. Tether, MakerDAO, etc., utilizing market makers to keep the price fluctuations down?" That is a great question. So generally speaking, it obviously depends on the stablecoin. Like I'll give you my take on it. It definitely depends on the stablecoin. So for example, guys like central issuers like Tether that actually are part of the exchange itself, like Bitfinex, they definitely do market making on those pairs. And I'm actually not privy to what happens when their pegs break. So like when you saw Tether breaking down, like I'm not sure if their market makers were buying it up. Potentially, but I don't know if they publicly disclose that. But generally speaking, market makers aren't really supposed to do that. They're just supposed to facilitate the markets and let the markets run on their own. But with something like Dai, I think it's a little bit different. So on centralized exchanges and on really any exchanges, uh, I don't think it makes too much of a difference if it's centralized or decentralized, because market makers run on all pairs. And so market makers just putting in, limit orders at a certain band, like they have a certain spread that they put limit orders on, and the people actually doing the market orders that are purchasing and selling Dai, they are the ones who have the price impact. And I guess it's a bit of a symbiotic relationship. So, depending on the spreads of the market makers and the volume of the market orders, the price moves around in various ways. And if I'm wrong on that, I know Joe Q's here. He could probably clarify if I'm really wrong on that. But I'm pretty sure that that's how it works. But anyway, let me just. I hope that answers it a little bit. But besides that, I mean, Dai has its micro mechanisms for keeping stability and its macro mechanisms for keeping stability. So like the micro mechanisms would be, CDP users wanting to pay down their loans cheap, for example, by buying Dai cheap, and then like issuing Dai when it's trading at a premium because that's percent or something of extra purchasing power. That's like the micro way to keep stability. But then on the macro, when you have like the current situation where there's a macro supply demand imbalance and you need to do something more drastic, you actually have to increase the capital costs on these loans, and you have to basically incentivize Dai supply to be either suppressed or actually to go down so that you can address that overall imbalance in the market. But yeah, I hope that that was a bit of explain it like I'm 5.
I mean, thanks very much for the explanation. I mean, if you're okay, can I have ask like a follow-up question?
Yeah, absolutely, go for it.
Cool. By the way, so my name's John Cho, and I'm actually the director of global expansion for Clayton. I think your team's familiar with Clayton. I believe some of my team are actually in conversation with your team, in terms of like potential partnerships and so whatnot. But I guess so I mean, I understand the basic concept between Tether and MakerDAO and so on. So MakerDAO, you have that Ethereum collateral, giving it that price, and Tether that like pegged 1-to-1 to like the US dollar and so on. So
Yes.
From I guess a face value perspective, I guess buyers and sellers understand that there's a certain like fiat value to these coins, stable value.
Mm-hmm.
But when they actually hit exchanges and people buy and sell, I they tend to fluctuate a little bit, but generally speaking, they stay around that $1 kind of price. And I guess I'm just like having a hard time understanding like what is it what's there to stop like someone like with a lot of money to like push down the price of Dai, or like push down the price of Tether to like 50 cents, for example.
Sure,
you know?
sure.
Yeah. So I guess just from like a common sense perspective, I figured, they could, are these like, entities using like market makers to, keep the price, at a stable level, versus like the regular kind of like, retail traders?
Yeah. So I think generally speaking, like if things are operating as intended, right? Like Dai right now, I know that there's no bots, strictly speaking, keeping the peg, right? Market makers facilitate the markets, and then the market kind of trades on its own. But like, what's stopping somebody from just going and trying to do a run on the bank with Tether? I mean, the problem is that with Tether at least, if they do that, you're just giving Bitfinex a chance to make a ton of money, because guess what? Even if you're selling their Tether down to 50 cents, they still have whatever they claim to be the reserves or assets backing the total, issued dollar amount of Tether that they claim. So for them, it's probably profitable for them to actually push their peg back up, because if they're buying their Tether for 50 cents, which they sold initially for a dollar of real fiat, that seems to be good for Tether and bad for the person trying to do a bank run, because I don't really see the incentive of why they would want to do that. I can't really see how they would profit from doing that. With Dai, on the other hand, like if somebody just wanted to maliciously attack the MakerDAO like system, right, and like wanted to try to put a stain on Dai by like just investing a ton of money and trying to kill the peg by artificially just pumping volume on one side or the other, buy or sell, will probably sell. But that's very possible. That is possible, and that is one form of attack on the system. But I don't think it'll last, because again, there's a lot of profit to be made if you know that, all right, you sell Dai down to 50 cents. Like, what's going to keep it there? Is it going to go back? You have to look at the system for how the system is built. And actually, David, or if anybody on here has any insights into that, I'd love to hear what you guys think.
Yeah, so like you can't just like sell Dai, right? That can't be the first step in the process. You have to buy Dai first, and there's two ways to do that. You can buy it on the open market, or you can get a CDP, right? And so it's buying and having control over so much Dai that would enable you to market sell it so much to reduce it down to 50 cents would cost a ton of Dai. And so it's kind of like the same kind of mechanism that secures a blockchain in proof of stake is the same kind of mechanism that will kind of prevent this from happening, because as soon as you have enough Dai to lower the price of Dai down to 50 cents, you're basically just burning 50% of your own capital, because you are so invested in Dai that you are now incentivized to keep that Dai at $1. And so if you start pushing the price of Dai down to 50 cents because you're just market selling far more than the market is able to handle, other people are taking advantage of that. Because like, I mean, I have a CDP. Dai at 4% off doesn't really attract me enough to repay my CDP, but like you can bet that if I see Dai at 70 cents or 60 cents or 50 cents, that I will be buying all that Dai just because it's free money, right? And so like you're going against the grain of economics, where everyone is incentivized to buy up your Dai that you are selling below the market rate, and especially when you go down that far. So and also, like, what is the incentive to do that? Like, why are you trying? What's the motivation to push Dai down 50 cents? Like, maybe
it might
goes,
be just to damage the system, right? Like, imagine, hey, like I'm a billionaire and Dai, and like this thing is just something I don't want to exist.
Right.
What do I need $30 million for? I'm just gonna cut it off. But
yeah, but then theoretically, in my mind, it would just kind of bounce back. Like it would be a damage to the system momentarily, but the incentives would be to buy all of that Dai, because at the end of the day, the cool power of Dai is that there is $1 of ether behind it somewhere, right? Like and it's trustlessly there. Like it's not like with a USDC or Tether, like they claim to have $1 behind in the bank account. But that's permissioned and not trustless. And with Dai, you do have that trustlessness. So we always know that there is $1 worth of commodity money somewhere backing a Dai.
Exactly, and ultimately, I think that's the point, right? That because it's collateral backed and because of the incentives of the system, an attack like that really seems to only be temporary, and it wouldn't really have a permanent effect on the peg. I imagine the peg would probably bounce back just fine. But again, that's just my view, and I'm sure I'd actually love to actually read some discourse on this, because just to to better understand that myself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, thank you very much for answering my question. I think it helped a lot. So I guess the gist of it is, I've always basically stablecoins, Dai included, is just basically stable due to market economics, just the philosophy in terms of just how traders work and so on. I always thought there was an algorithmic kind of scheme or process or bot behind these stable coins, but I guess it's just basically just down to the market and economics.
Yeah, exactly. But and it also depends on the stablecoin, right? Because I know there were projects like Koala that there were real algorithmic stablecoins that said if the peg is trading below, then they'll artificially lower the supply. If it's trading above, they had their own sort of incentive structure. But even then, I mean, you could think of it as an algorithm, or you could think of it as a living and breathing sort of ecosystem of market participants. Because although it's not an algorithm in Dai's case, it is a ton of CDP users. It is a ton of Dai holders. It is a handful of market makers, and all of these people together interacting with the system in their own individual roles with their own individual personal agendas. They work together, and the peg is kept by all these various incentives. Which is really cool. So, yeah, algorithmically kept by a bot on the actual peg itself, that just requires a ton of liquidity. And if the other side of that, imagine you want to create a Dai, hard peg, and you have $100 million of capital to work with to just enforce a perfect 1-for-1 peg, where anybody who's selling in 99 0.995 cents, you're automatically buying it, and you're just going to keep that up. The problem is that the market is going a certain way. So if you start off with a certain amount of assets, you might have your inventories totally unbalanced, which happens to be the case with the current market makers, because in their trading around the Dai peg, the market was selling way more Dai than it was buying. So, well, this market, yeah, I don't know if it still is. That's up for debate. Stay tuned for Thursday's governance and risk call. But yeah, in general, people that are actually trying to trade around a band, i.e., market makers, if the market is going imbalanced in any particular direction, they're going to see it reflected in their inventories of assets. And ultimately, at a certain point, those are exhausted. And then when the market takes over and actually overpowers the liquidity providers, I guess, that's when the peg starts to shift. Yeah. Hunter L asks, well, he says he has a quick question. Yeah, definitely hop on, Hunter.
Yes, quick question. I think a big part of making this crypto in general, or just blockchain, a popular thing available to the mainstream is making it as easy as possible to access and use. And I know, for example, when you're paying back a CDP, you have to pay a little bit of Maker, and Maker isn't readily available on, say, Coinbase or a lot of super common exchanges at this point. Is there any plan to kind of fade out paying? I mean, obviously still pay Maker in the back end, but maybe pay Ethereum only, and it gets transferred to Maker in the background.
I actually have some wonderful news for you. So I think about a month ago, our team they coded the ability for CDP users to actually pay their stability fees in Dai. So that already exists, even in single collateral. Initially, it was meant to be for multi-collateral, but because of the shutdown of the Oasis front ends and various other factors, and also just to reduce user friction, that actually already exists. So you don't actually need to touch MKR at all. You could do everything with Dai. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Of course. But yes.
Wait, sorry, David. How does, when somebody puts up Dai to buy MKR, what exchange does that come from? Where does that go?
In the background, I think it goes still through the Oasis contracts. I think actually.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it still goes through the Oasis contracts because the Oasis front ends were taken down, but the contracts are still alive. So, I'm gonna check with the dev team. I'm pretty sure they said it was still through.
yeah,
Oasis.
because so like you can still list your own MKR to be sold on the Oasis contract, and then
Yeah,
they'll be buy.
if you're interacting with the contracts directly, yes, I think so. But
Oh,
I don't think that's a major source of liquidity at the moment, just due
right.
to the fact that there's no front ends. But yeah, so Joe Q, who's part of the Maker team, just confirmed. Yeah, so it trades in the background the Dai for MKR on Oasis.
Okay. That just raises the question as like making this open to everyone, right? Because I feel like you need a pretty decent amount of technical knowledge to do that. Like I wouldn't know how to
Yeah.
go and put up my MKR there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that the liquidity providers that are on Oasis are really just there as a service provider to like the CDP system, I guess, because Oasis is kind of in a transition period, which is part of the reason why our team decided to take down the front ends. So, you could still acquire Maker elsewhere, but in the background, like the cdp.makerdao.com, like DApp itself and that contract, it does interact with the Oasis smart contracts. Yeah, and also Marcin makes a great point. That week that we actually took down the Oasis front ends, subsequently there were a couple of third-party people hosting the front ends on IPFS.
Has there been talk about using Uniswap as that backend exchange?
I don't think there's been much talk because it's like a temporary solution, and since there's enough liquidity and the price is pretty much at parity with the rest of the market, from my understanding, it's not really a major concern. I don't know if Joe maybe has some comments on like the available liquidity or like the price there. I'm pretty sure the liquidity on Oasis is healthy enough to facilitate like the transaction fees.
Yeah, I'm still making markets on Oasis. Sorry to steal your thunder here, Dave, but like, yeah, we're still making markets on Oasis, and we're making markets on Uniswap. We just had launched we're launching on AirSwap. We're on DDEX, Radar Relay. Um, um, we're on Coinbase. Yeah, we try to make anytime DAI is listed, we're on most of the exchanges. So, and I think the Uniswap contract has probably been the hottest one lately, in terms of like growth. But Oasis still has pretty good volume.
Nice. Thank you for that, Joe. Appreciate it. All right, so cool. If there's any other questions, Akiva has a question. For Joe, does your trading desk plan on growing your inventory as Dai supply grows? Will your trading capital scale? Question mark.
That's a great question. I mean, I've tried to grow with the overall volume, but right now we were given a limited amount of money by the foundation, and I have been trying to grow it as fast as possible. But I do not have unlimited money like nobody really has unlimited money, but I don't have unlimited money from the foundation to keep on growing. It's my job to help do it through my own trading and our team's trading, which is a really great team we have, and maybe outside capital down the line.
Nice, thank you, Joe. Thank you. Just give it a second to see if there's any follow-up question to that, and then we can move on to some of the community highlights. All right, cool. All right. So moving on. So there are a few great articles posted. CoinDesk's Christine Kim posted an article on the recent 4% increase. It covered the entire week pretty well. Crypto Slate also covered the increase. That was good. And then the year of the DAO comeback. It was this was a Medium article that I stumbled across that actually went through some of the stuff that's going on in the space in regards to like on-chain voting and DAOs, and they talked a bit about what we're doing at Maker, and definitely a good article worth reading. So check that out. There's also another article by the Block Crypto. I think it's written by a guy that I see around our community, Matteo Libowitz. Really well written article as well, also detailing the stability fee changes. Now there's one particular. Well, all right, that's it for articles that I'm gonna highlight. Yeah, absolutely, Silas. Actually, for people that are just joining the call, I noticed a few came in. There's an agenda doc here, so you guys can definitely check it out. All right. So also relevant to stability fee changes, there's a few really great threads, and one in particular from mkr.gov, or sorry, the subreddit r/mkr.gov. There's a community member. Let me just get his name. M Rabino. He started posting a weekly narrative on MakerDAO, and he's present, I believe, at the Thursday calls, and he already posted 2 of these. But if you're unable to make the call and you don't have that hour to really read through things and review, this is a really wonderful, maybe like 8 or 9 paragraph summary of what's been going on. So definitely just want to highlight that, because that's been probably one of my favorite threads this week, just from like a writing and succinct like summation of what's been going on standpoint. But yeah, there's 2 or 3 other really great threads that you guys could check out in that agenda doc, mostly relating to the stability fee. But yeah, so that is my review of what's been going on this week in Maker. If you guys think I missed anything, now's the time to bring it up. But otherwise, unfortunately, there's no guest this week. They dropped out a little early.
Oh,
Yeah. Hey,
I
Rich.
got one thing. Hey, how's it going, everyone? Just want to let you know that about a week away from the CDP tracker here in the App Store, and if anyone wants to test it out, they can do so here. I'll just paste in the link. And yeah, it's kind of crazy. I've been working on a wallet for 9 months, and I had like no active users, and I added a CDP tracker to this thing, and yeah, people are checking it hundreds of times a week. So
Nice, man.
I guess yeah, I guess people really care about their CDPs. So I will just paste the link in the chat if anyone wants to try it out. And we're aiming to have an Android version in 3 to 4 weeks. So
nice.
yeah.
Thank you for updating us. I was about to ask you to post the link in the chat. I definitely want to check this out.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks a lot for everything.
Yeah. All right. Now there's also another piece of news I kind of want to talk about. It hasn't been publicly posted yet, but I think there should be something getting posted in the next hour or 2. But so there will be a MKR roll call vote in about a week. So stay tuned for more information on this, but we're going to be submitting a roll call proposal, and the goal for that is simply to activate any non-voting MKR in preparation for, the seriousness of, the governance around the system and, the multi-collateral Dai era. So give me a second, Lenka. I will get to Akiva's question in just a sec. But stay tuned. I believe Nikolai is going to post a Reddit thread pretty soon, actually. Let me just check the mkr.gov. No, he hasn't posted it yet. Yeah, so stay tuned, but just giving you guys some preliminary notice that there's going to be a roll call vote. So if you guys own Maker, know people that own Maker, definitely let them know. But more information on that soon. Now, Akiva, yeah, Akiva, come on. I know you have a mic. Come on, man. I'm down to hear your question.
What I'm wondering is if the Maker team is planning on doing anything around updating CDP users around the stability fee, because there's a lot of concern right now about like the stability fee is going higher, but people don't know about it. So I'm wondering if there will be more updates in the future around that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I could actually speak a little bit to that. So I've been talking to like the product team, and there is some preliminary plans. They're gonna probably put something in soon, but yeah, they're thinking through all the different options, whether like putting down a banner or having some sort of notification system, or even, you know, for the first week of the fee change, like highlighting that section of the CDP dashboard in red. Basically, they're thinking about this actively, and it is definitely on their radar. And also, anybody on the call, if you guys have any feedback on how best to present this kind of notification, definitely join us in Rocket Chat and post in the product feedback channel. We'd love to hear your suggestions. Yeah, great. Thank you for bringing that up. That's really important. Yeah, and Richard Burton is mentioning that in the Balance app, there's going to be notifications high on the list for whenever there's a fee change. All right, cool. If anybody has any other questions or wants to jump in and even talk about anything, let me know. Otherwise, we could cut this call a little bit early this week.
So I'm working on a real estate platform, which I think might be going live either Friday or Monday. Tokenized real estate, buy houses in Detroit. And we're using Dai to send daily rent revenues to the token owners.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, pretty excited.
What's the name of the project?
Called Realty, our Realty. Our website is realty.co, but it's password protected right now.
Nice. All right, cool. Thanks for letting us know.
Oh, Silas Watson, that's me. I'm Trustless State.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I thought that was super interesting. Also, I don't know if it was you, but maybe it was you. I responded to a tweet someone made the other day about whether you'd prefer dividends from state tokens being paid in Dai or Ether. And I thought that was a super interesting question. I think it's really important that we start using Dai for things like security tokens.
Mm-hmm.
Things like just transacting. Things like Dai are amazing because it allows you to leverage smart contracts without taking on the inherent volatility of doing it in crypto. Any sort of business deal is now much more easily executed when you don't have to deal with the price fluctuations of Ethereum. So I think it's cool what you're doing.
Awesome. By the way, Nikolai just posted the roll call thing, so I posted the link to that in the chat. So this is a really important vote in Maker history, and I think that we are all going to be rallying for as many MKR holders to attend and to basically set some sort of quorum or signal as to how many active participants are around, because I know I and other people that are MKR holders know that there's a lot of MKR on the sidelines. So this roll call vote is really excited. I'm personally a big fan of it. So definitely read that post, and yeah, it's one big piece of news for the week. Where can you buy the sweatshirt? I don't know. Is Sean still on the call? No, Sean left already. So I guess we could. I don't think it's private information, but some of our team is working on a swag store. So soon enough, Silas, you'll be able to buy it with a Dai. All right, Akiva. Yeah, what's your other question?
So does the fact that the Maker Foundation is operating as a not-for-profit inhibit your ability to raise capital from outside investors just for market making?
Is Joe still on the call? That would probably be a good question for him.
What was the question? Sorry.
Well, you mentioned that you might want to bring outside capital for market making, but I'm wondering if the fact that Maker is operating as a not-for-profit might inhibit your ability to do that.
Oh, I'm outside the I'm what I do is outside the Maker Foundation. I was bringing this. They own me, but I give the profits back to the foundation.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Drew. All right. There's no other questions. I think we could put this call to rest this week and call it a week, and we will see you guys on April 2nd. Jeez, March just flew. All right, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much for attending the call. Appreciate you all. And I'll be posting the recording later today, hopefully hopefully in the next 2 hours. So thank you guys for coming. See you next week.
Thank you. Bye.